Natalie pulled Tony over and said, "Just ignore them. Let's go." Tony was confused about where she was taking him, but he followed her to the adjacent studio anyway. "Sorry, I forgot to tell you. You're here to recapture the feeling of being filmed again. We'll get some promotional pictures of you to help boost your visibility." Tony nodded, but there was fear in his eyes. Sensing his concerns, Natalie said gently, "Relax. You did it all those years ago, and I trust that you can do it now. I believe in you. Now go get ready for the shoot. We'll start in a little while." The photographer and the lighting technician were already in position. Tony hesitantly stepped forward until he reached the position where he was to be photographed. Natalie looked at him, highly satisfied with his appearance. But when the photographer raised his camera and started taking photos, he saw something that made him frown. He stopped clicking the shutter and lowered the camera. "What's up? Does Tony need to get some makeup?" "It's nothing like that. It's just that he doesn't seem to be in the right state of mind. It's as if he's subconsciously avoiding looking down the lens every time I take a picture." Natalie looked at the images the photographer had captured and immediately saw the photographer's point. "Tony, try not to be nervous. Just act natural. Let's go again." "Okay, I understand." The photo shoot restarted, but Tony was still subconsciously avoiding the camera. After a few more failed photos, the photographer was starting to get impatient. Natalie's anxiety levels were rising. She tried to think of ways to help Tony. Suddenly, she thought of Tony's performance in Love Through Time. She walked over to him and asked, "Do you still remember that character you portrayed a few years back? You were betrayed by the girl you liked, became crazy as a result, and then went to a kind of dark place mentally?" "Of course I remember. But this is a photo shoot. It's not like I'm portraying a character in a show." "Yes, I understand. But actually, I think it is similar. Maybe if you can find the feeling you had when you were playing that character, you can try using it for the photo shoot?" "I'll try again." Natalie nodded. She watched him try the poses several more times, but his acting was still very unconvincing. The photographer couldn't wait any longer. "Listen, I have other appointments today. Can we get going again now? If not, then let's reschedule instead of wasting everybody's time." Just then, she caught sight of Tony's dull expression and suddenly felt like she had had enough. "Tony, why are you in such a daze? Are you only fit to sit in the corner, lower your head, and feel sorry for yourself?" Tony was shocked by this sudden harsh scolding. He opened his mouth to say something, but then decided against it and kept quiet instead. "Nothing to say? Okay then. I'll speak to Gary Willis and you can switch to another managing agent." He lowered his eyes and frowned. His body was trembling and he clenched his fists tightly. Natalie took a deep breath. She was ready to speak again when she looked up and saw Tony staring at her. His eyes were full of tears. "I'm not giving up on myself. Let's continue. Please let me try again, one more time." Tears rolled down his face. Natalie's expression was gentler now, but she maintained her stern tone as she said, "Do as you wish. If you want to act, then let's do it. If you can't, then let's wrap this up." She gave the photographer a curt signal. "Everyone get in position. Focus." Tony Bobble closed his eyes and let out a breath. He imbued his performance with his hatred for Mark Ellington. The sudden richness and conviction of Tony's performance amazed all the people in the studio. The applause echoed in the studio for a long time. Natalie exchanged glances with him. Finally, a smile blossomed on her face. That was a soul-deep performance. I definitely picked the right guy. It only took half of the usual time to finish the work. Afterward, Natalie led him back to her office. "Today was very successful, but there's been nothing announced about you yet, publicity-wise. But don't worry, I'll think of something in terms of endorsements." Tony smiled. Natalie once again encouraged him in a serious tone. "I'll draw up a plan for you as soon as possible. You'll have to do 10 hours of practice every day without the slightest bit of relaxation." She waited for Tony's response, but Tony had a troubled expression on his face. "What's up? Don't tell me you can't do that." "No, I'm not trying to back off. But in addition to rehearsals, I still have to do odd jobs every day. I'm worried that I won't have enough time for it all." Natalie spread her arms with a look of disappointment and said, "You only have one chance. Why aren't you making full use of it rather than going to odd jobs instead?" Hearing Natalie's scolding, Tony's expression became dejected. "I'm sorry. I understand the importance of the opportunity I have, but I need money right now. My sister has a congenital heart disease. Her treatment can't be delayed any longer. An operation needs to be performed, and I need to help fund it." Natalie was stunned. She didn't know that he had been carrying such a heavy burden. "Well, I can understand your difficulties. Why not take me to the hospital later to see your sister?" She smiled gently and patted Tony's shoulder to comfort him. A gentle light flashed in Tony's worried eyes. "Okay, that's a great idea. She'll be very happy to see you." After that, Natalie let Tony rest while she went in search of opportunities for him. That evening, she went with Tony to the hospital to visit Gina. As soon as she entered the ward, she saw the girl lying on the big hospital bed. "Tony, you're finally here." Tony, seeing that his sister was so happy, took out the gift he had bought for her. But the little girl looked past the gift. Her gentle eyes glanced at Natalie, who was standing behind Tony. "Should I call that beautiful lady behind you my sister-in-law?"
Hi, I am Natalie. Want to know my story? Then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of The Return Now.